Welcome back to episode 3 of Glossy Girl Gossip. This is the final episode, and in this episode, we'll be analyzing a few media texts and we'll be analyzing a few more theories that connect to our research topic of the day. How do TikTok and Instagram use algorithms, content loops, and filters to perpetuate ideas of beauty and body standards amongst Generation Z and Alpha audiences? Well, in this week's episode, we're gonna analyze the movie called The Uglies, Paradise, and Ari Real. But Ari Real is actually a beauty campaign that's sponsored by American Eagle. So, in these movies, a lot of the characters actually do undergo cosmetic surgeries. It's either to help their appearance amongst others to make them more popular, or it's to save their family. And all of these cosmetic surgeries are permanent. So let's get into it. Because social media has grown to be one of the most used places for teenage girls and women, a part of Generation Z and Alpha audiences, it's easy to get sucked into all of these stereotypes and these idolized beauty standards. According to researchers, social media platforms have purposely designed their apps to keep people engaged for long periods of time. So, a few patterns that you might not be aware of are personalized recommendations of beauty inspirational videos. And you get constant notifications from influencers that you might not even follow. And that's simply because you've liked their videos before or you've stayed on their content for a long period of time, which creates that loop of videos that attracts your attention to keep you on these apps for a longer period of time. These loops are also related to internet addictions that affects the emotional and mental health of women and teenage girls of Generation Z and Alpha audiences. And this also alters their life in a way. So how does this connect to our research topic? How do TikTok and Instagram use content loops, algorithms, and filters to perpetuate ideas of beauty and body standards amongst these two generations for teenage girls and women? So women and young girls who spend a lot of time on these two apps also spend a lot of time trying to perfect their image and appearance in the mirror. So they spend a lot of time in the mirror just because they see everybody else on these apps who look beautiful and they want to be beautiful as well. So they also look at your echo chambers. So your echo chambers is basically you sitting on a video for a long period of time. So that tracks your dopamine triggers and it tracks what you like or what they think you like, and it just keeps feeding you more videos every single time. So, for example, when you watch videos of skincare routines, makeup tutorials, fitness videos, whatever you might want to watch, your feed gets flooded with this type of content because Instagram and TikTok believes that this is something that you want to see. To everyone on these apps, they have perfect skin, the perfect body, but that's actually not reality. Many of these videos are heavily edited and filtered based because they have digitally altered these physical appearances to the consumer to make it seem like these influencers look like this on an everyday basis. And one cool thing that I found out about a Photoshop law that was passed in France is that they have to put a label at the bottom that says this is AI generated, or this has been edited, or it has been digitally altered in a way. And this is to help alleviate the rise in those unrealistic body and beauty standards that lead to mental health issues and body image concerns, also eating disorders. And that's simply just due to the increase of internet addictions. So let's dive into the uses and gratifications method. Uses and gratification examines the motivations and behavior of consumers. So this is basically how and why they use social media. We all know that social media is used to keep people connected, specifically with friends and family. It's also used as a form of escapism because a lot of people have stressful jobs or just encounter stress every day. So social media is a form of escape for them. Now, let's connect this to our question of the day. Once again, how do TikTok and Instagram use algorithms, content loops, and filters to perpetuate ideas of beauty and body standards? For women and teenage girls, these two apps are used to discover new trends such as fashion, beauty, fitness, hairstyles, and it's also used as a confidence boost because once again, Generation Z and alpha audiences are known to have the most lack of confidence. It's good to be encouraged and to self-express. So basically just be yourself and express who you are. The problem is when you turn inspiration into comparison, that's when we have an issue. What people fail to realize is that a lot of influencers actually do use filters, editing apps, expensive skincare products, and they also sometimes undergo permanent plastic procedures to maintain that perfect look that we see on social media. Research has proven that constant comparison leads to low self-esteem, depression, eating disorders, and body dissatisfaction. And this is common amongst Generation Z and alpha audiences once again, especially between teenage girls and women. So let's talk about how these things are primed and framed in the media. Priming is basically how people judge what is being shown in media. Exposure to certain media message has an influence on how we think and what we notice, especially when it comes to social media. Framing in social media doesn't just tell users what to think, but it also influences how we think about what content that we see. So, how does this connect to our research topic? How do TikTok and Instagram use algorithms, content loops, and filters to perpetuate ideas and beauty standards amongst Generation Z and alpha audiences? Let's talk about it. When you binge scroll on TikTok or Instagram, you often see the same type of person go viral. You see someone who's really slim, overly pretty, perfect teeth, perfect facial features, just everything that you might not see when it comes to the everyday woman or teenage girl. So being exposed to these things prime the consumer to believe that this is how to become popular. This is how to become successful and attractive. Now, let's talk about the framing aspect when it comes to TikTok and Instagram. Because these two apps love to frame being beautiful as something that will align with success, confidence, popularity, and surprisingly happiness. It's just people feed into it more. This is something that you believe that will happen if you are more beautiful. You can be successful, you can have confidence, you will be popular, and you will be more happy. But that's not how you glorify yourself as an individual. We constantly see influencers post and glorify their glow up, but what we fail to see are normal human imperfections such as acne scars, the wrinkles, stretch marks, gap teeth, disabilities of people, and you really don't see people of bigger frames in social media. So in my opinion, I believe that is a powerful and dangerous message to put out in the media. Now, let's look at a few media texts that depict examples of how TikTok and Instagram use algorithms, content loops, and filters to perpetuate ideas of beauty and body standards amongst Generation Z and alpha audiences. In today's society, beauty is more of a requirement. So, a great example of this would be the Netflix movie titled The Uglies. So this film is about a teenager or multiple teenagers who undergo mandatory surgery that's life-changing. So these prosthetic procedures are permanent and they happen once you turn the age of 16. Once they receive this type of surgery, they're allowed to enter the city called the Pretties. So anyone who refuses this surgery as a teenager, they're basically discriminated against. They don't fit in, they're not popular, they're deemed as ugly to everyone, and that's just simply not right. And they also undergo and face different challenges throughout this film. Even though this is a fictional dystopian movie, it still intersects with the research topic on how TikTok and Instagram uses filters and things of that nature to perpetuate ideas of beauty and body standards. It still exemplifies challenges that women and teenage girls face in society, especially when it comes to being accepted. And that's simply based on beauty and body attractions. Instead of cosmetic surgeries, this group of individuals face peer pressure from social media trends like filters, over-edited pictures and videos, body trends, and beauty standards. And this is in modern day society. Once again, these are because social media pushes these type of agendas through algorithms, content loops, and user-generated data. So to them, if you change your appearance, then you change your social status in life. A lot of people actually do believe that and stand by that, but Another example in media text that we're going to analyze is called Paradise. And Paradise is about two individuals who live in a dystopian era, and they're a part of a company called Aeon. And this company basically developed technology to where you can transfer your beauty from one person to another. So if you see someone that's old and dying and you have someone who's young and healthy and they're going through a hard time in life, they can basically sell their beauty to this older person to basically get more money to fund their life. And that's pretty much an example of how TikTok and Instagram use filters and things of that nature to basically pay influencers to get what they want in life. Basically, what I mean by that is because popular posts are promoted the most, this is what makes products and trends and beauty and body standards more visible. So this is basically similar to how Aeon in the movie Paradise rewards best donors of the year for being wealthy and being popular buyers or popular influencers, as you can say. And this connects to how Instagram and TikTok use algorithms and content loops to increase engagements. The filters on TikTok and Instagram connect to Aeon's life's transfer ability because filters make people look younger. So if you promote a product from these two apps, then you'll be able to gain creator funds. And from the movie, if you sell your beauty, then you're able to gain funds to help whatever situation that you're in life. Both Paradise, TikTok, and Instagram commodify attention and appearances, basically perpetuating these beauty and body standards that are placed amongst Generation Z and alpha audiences and teenage girls and women. Social media has definitely curated a similar environment that rewards attractive influencers and attractive people who have that perfect body type or those perfect features that we see all the time. Over time, this makes beauty feel like success. But once again, that's not what that is. So the next media text that we'll definitely analyze is a campaign called #AreReal. And this campaign highlights how social media uses framing in a positive way. So let's talk about it. Rather than heavily edited photos, videos, and different forms of media, AreReal uses models with natural body features and disabilities, meaning there are no filters or retouches. So beauty doesn't mean perfection, but it's good to see people who are different in a good way, people who aren't overly edited in the media. It's good to see what real women are supposed to look like. Researchers have also shown that when teenage girls and women see more realistic and diverse representation of women in the media amongst Generation Z and alpha audiences, it improves confidence and it improves body dissatisfactions. It improves mental health and those eating disorders. And it also helps reduce that negative psychological behavior. As this episode comes to an end, let's revisit 4 of the communication theories that we discussed. Uses and gratification explains why we choose social media as a form of entertainment, inspiration, and self-identification. Priming is basically how we identify how repeated exposure to certain media texts teaches us what beauty is supposed to look like. I'll say that again. Priming identifies how repeated exposure to certain media teaches us what beauty is supposed to look like. Framing explains how apps like TikTok and Instagram align and connect beauty and body standards with success, popularity, and happiness, even though things like diversity and natural human flaws are ignored in social media. So, the images that we see on the internet make an impact. They shape expectations, influence confidence, and it also affects how we see ourselves every single day. Thank you for tuning in to Glossy Girl Gossip. I'm your host, Courtney.